Welcome to Subramani. A couple of years ago, we lost somebody to COVID. What had happened was he was admitted in a hospital, and nobody knew what was going to happen to him. And the doctors said, "Oh, he's okay, not okay." I mean, not much information was coming because it was a very crowded. You remember the peak of the COVID. Crisis when all hospital beds were crowded and all hospitals were crowded, sorry. And so one of his colleagues who knew one of the nurses went and said, I will try to find out about what is the position of this patient. She was known to this guy, so so she went and saw the patient and came out and said, look, he's not in good shape, and he'll die in a couple of days. This was like a hit on the solar plexus, saying, my God, doctors are not saying this. She said, no, he has no mental strength to be alive, and that's a problem. We did not give it so much of credence, but she turned out to be right. This guy, we knew this guy, he was mentally very weak. Physically he was not so badly off, but he was mentally very weak. We used to know him, he would live beyond his means, etc., etc. He could rarely say no to anybody for anything. I think what happened was he was creating mental maps for himself, saying, oh my God, this has happened, now I can't survive, for whatever reasons. That also led me, while I was reading a book on adventure hiking and things like that, I read about what is the chance of survival and who survives. So who survives is a person with tremendous amount of experience, who knows how, if he is lost in the hiking trail or in the forest or in the mountains, he knows how to come back from there. Or it has to be somebody. I read about a girl lost, she was 5 years old or 6 years old, and she was with her dog, and she was lost in the forest. And this is, I think, a story from Canada. And after some time they found the dog and they traced the dog. The dog took them to the girl, and the girl was alive. Some 7 days or 8 days or something she had survived in the wild. And it was quite surprising. And a psychiatrist said 2 types of people survive: those with tremendous years of experience, who know what to do, who know which berry to eat and which water to drink and how to keep yourself safe from animals; or kids who completely go by their instinct. When they need warmth, they go and hide in the hollow of a tree. They hide in the grass, saving themselves from big animals, right? A bear may not be able to see you at that height. Maybe it can smell you. I'm not even guessing. Maybe if you go into the hollow of a tree, you could be bitten by a snake. I'm not even getting into it. But the young kids who completely trusted their instincts. So the story was, she cuddled up with her dog when she was sleeping, so she was not so cold. She hid in the grass. Maybe no animal came her way. That could be the role of luck also. But the worst affected people are those who think they know how to handle it, and those who create a mental map saying, oh my God, I'm so many kilometers away, my compass is not working, I do not know which direction to go. So mentally they give up first. Both things happen. One is the overconfidence with which they have come here, and then the mental map which says that they will die. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this simply because we are in a phase of a market where most of us do not know what the future holds for us, which is always true. But in a bull market, it is more dangerous because everybody has been buying since 2020, and they have been right. So if you bought anything from 2020 to 2023, you have been right, and if you have sold anything, you have been wrong, right? This is a very good indicator of a bull market. For example, I bought BHEL at 25, BHEL at 50, BHEL at 70. So I said 115, 120 is not a bad price to sell. I sold, and then I saw the price at 135. Any price you sell anything, you look like an idiot. Anything you buy at any price, you look like a genius, because the market has gone up. Now is this a time to be overconfident? Of course, because you're going to look at your last 1 year track record, 2 year track record, or 3 year track record and say, look, I've done so well. I got 22% return. Maybe an ETF in exactly the same field has got 28% return, but you are comparing your 22 to 7% is what you would have got in the bank and say, oh, I'm very good. I'm very good at investing. Who told you? Look at my record. I've got 22%. But in the same industry, somebody else has got 28%. No, I'm very happy with 22%. I don't want more than that. The assumption is they will be able to repeat that 22% or 32% in a small cap fund every year for the next 30 years or 20 years, whatever. It doesn't happen that way. But this overconfidence comes from little knowledge, and you do not know how good is your knowledge. For example, I wouldn't know what my knowledge of gold over say 4,000 years, because gold has the highest track record in terms of number of years. What is the track record of the Sensex since the year 1979? It's been a fantastic ride, right? 100 has become 95,000 or thereabouts on a total return index basis, which is just fantastic, right? So what should I do? I should think the market will do something like that, not exactly the same thing, but I should put that money in an index fund and say, okay, now let the index take care of it. Instead of that, I still chase alpha. After 40 years, I still chase alpha. I think I can buy some share on a regular basis and average my cost and therefore invest. I can put in, I know the next best fund manager, right? I keep doing that. How do I counter that? That is what today I'm going to tell you. The best way I found to counter that is to invest in mutual funds along with direct equity. I will never get out of direct equity, but I also invest in mutual funds. For example, if I think the US technology sector is going to work, I look for a fund which invests in the US technology fund apart from Indian companies, because the taxation changes which I've made it very hurtful to invest in a company purely in US fund or purely in a European fund. Then you get hurt. So some fund which invests in Indian equity and invests abroad, right? So that kind of a fund allows you some kind of an exposure and say, okay, I am invested in the technology in the US. And I am also, which means my money is getting converted into dollars. Am I worried that the dollar will strengthen? No, this makes me happy. Am I worried that the dollar will weaken? Yes, I should be worried. Then I say, oh, small portion of my money is there, so that's okay, because all of my other assets are in rupees. So diversification, seeking opinion of people who are thinking completely differently. Right? So somebody who says, I think the best place to invest today is real estate, or somebody who thinks that the best place to invest today is debt because it's the most unsung place, right? Nobody is investing in debt, which means it's a good time to be investing in debt. Getting contrary opinions is very useful. Seeing what fund managers are doing, that is again very useful. Go and see their portfolio, see what are they doing, where are they investing, are they investing in Indian technology companies or are they investing in foreign technology companies. The other thing I realized is we overestimate the impact of prosperity, technology and changes in the short run. We think some magic is going to happen. Let us say the Modi government has increased the number of airports from 70 to I think 2025 the figure would be something like 230 or 240. We underestimate the impact this is going to have over the next 30-40 years. We overestimate the impact it is going to have over the next 3 years. Over the next 3 years it won't have great impact. Yes, it will mean Indigo, Vistara, Air India will go and buy 500 aircrafts each. We again won't know the impact of this on the aviation industry in the long run, or the impact of this on companies which are building and managing airports. We think something magic will happen. Every quarter we keep looking at their earnings and say, oh my god, nothing is happening. Nothing will happen. Please understand, today Indigo is a 17-18-year-old company. It's not a startup. It's an old company, 17-year-old company. It takes a lot of time to build the infrastructure business. So what I was trying to say is, in the long run, let's say last 40-50 years, all my friends and relatives, the amount of money available with them and the things that they do have only improved. almost all of them have at least one car, if not two. Many of them have the second car in retirement also. So after retirement also, it's not a question of having one car, it's a question of having enough money to provide for that, right? So everybody's standard of living, whether it is size of the house, size of the car, or the travels that they do, everything has improved over the last say 50-60 years. Definitely, I mean, I remember in my younger days I used to hear people saying we have accumulated money to buy a fridge. Today a fridge or an AC or any of those things, creature comforts, are just assumed for a 22-year-old or a 25-year-old buying a new house or renting a new house, right? Car, it's not a question of did you come by car or did you not come by car. The question is which car do you drive. Everybody. So over a 30-40 year period, what is going to happen in IT, what is going to happen in AI, it is amazing things which are going to happen. But if you think that is going to happen now, you are being overconfident, thinking I understand technology, I understand its impact. No, we don't understand its impact in the long run. We think we understand its impact in the short run. We don't. So get contrarian views, talk to people who are in the field but not in the investment field, and you realize you get a completely different picture of what many of these things are going to do. So overconfidence can only be tackled by talking to people with greater knowledge, and you realize that you have no knowledge of many fields, and in my case including investing, because every day you keep learning and you realize what kind of mistakes you can make. I have recorded some videos on the mistakes that I made. Very regularly I do that, and you realize that fighting overconfidence is not easy. It's the worst bias you can have while investing. You think you understand asset allocation, you think, oh, you should be having monies in the US, you should have money in multiple assets. All that is true, but all that may not still help you from overconfidence. So some of the simple things which I do is, when I see excessively high returns, I just remove money from there and put into some other asset class which is not doing well. This has always worked for me. What has also worked for me, all my funds look extremely good in 2023 just because of a brilliant starting point called March or June 2020. It was a fantastic starting point. That starting point is hiding all the mistakes that my fund managers are doing. Be that as it may, I do think I take some money off the table and put it into asset classes which are not doing well, which means taking money from one particular infra fund or one particular small cap fund and putting into fund which also invests in India and invests in US. So some of these things you keep doing. Not that everything will work, not that everything is right, but some things will work, some things are right. So that's the kind of experiment that you need to keep doing. Fight against overconfidence. It's an important fight. Thank you.